I'm David Kramer from R50, and I'm a pleasure to be your chairperson. I met Marissa for the first time last night and super excited to introduce her because this is a really interesting topic. She tells me she did not come here by train because her trains only go to the Queensland border, don't come all the way. But her main activity is Uber driving for her 4 kids and the big kid, which is the man in your life, I understand. And apart from the yelling, do you yell at work as well? Never. But developing teams and very passionate about sharing helpful tools and tips. And some of those helpful tools and tips will be here now to us. So couldn't pronounce your R's until early teens. So we should call you Marissa. Got it. Without further ado, please.
Thanks very much. Working? Cool. Hello, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be back here today at Mainstream, as Greg said. David, who's Greg?
Don't call me late for dinner.
Sorry, David. All right. It's an absolute pleasure to be back again at Mainstream this year. I came along last year and apparently no one fell asleep, so here I am again. Today I'm following along on a similar journey. I've been in my current role for 2 years, with Horizon for almost 20 years. For anyone that doesn't know Horizon, largest rail freight company in Australia, the particular department that I work under has the coal line, so around 2,700 kilometres up in the Bowen Basin, central Queensland, and my team do all of the planning of the maintenance and renewals, around $500 million a year. So quite a large portfolio. So I've been in the role for 2 years now, and I guess I wanted to share with you a little bit of the journey. Last time I spoke about, how to have courageous conversations, how to connect with people, build trust, ask open-ended questions to really build on those relationships. And this time I want to take you on a little bit of a journey and show you how I've been able to apply some different tools and the transition that's happened in my team. I'll start off by telling you a little bit about our People Insight Survey. So this is a survey that's carried out annually at Horizon, and essentially everyone does it. You do it for your next line leader, and it asks you a number of different questions around 4 key elements. So those are people, safety, culture, and leadership. It's anonymous, but it's not. Asks you all different things. How do you feel about your leader? Do you feel trusted? Do you get the right information to do your job correctly? When I first came into the role, I had this vision of, right, I know exactly what I'm going to do with this team, and I was in for a rude shock. So let's have a look at what it looked like when I started. So hopefully you can see this. These are our People Insight Survey results, and you can see down the left-hand side here the questions that people got asked, and then you can see the heat map. This was me. So when we did these People Insight Survey, we have a look at the key focus areas. So you can see half of our team didn't receive the information that they needed to do the jobs effectively. So whether that was from a leader, a peer, operations, it was a key focus area. They weren't overly proud of our company's reputation. There was a few different ways that you could interpret that. So, were we active at kids' sporting games? Did we have community breaches? A few different things. And they couldn't see the link between their roles and the company's objectives. Similarly, our teams were not energised at work. I don't think anyone will ever crack that, to be fair. 33%, so pretty low in my team. Now this one cut deep. My team were also the lowest rating for feeling like I didn't care about their well-being and I didn't provide adequate feedback to help them do their jobs better. So I cried. I cried at this in front of the whole team. I was like, oh my God, I'm a failure. Everyone likes me. They didn't. So I guess once you've got that information, and I share this with you, so even though this is a business-wide survey, this would be the very first step to understanding the team environment. Use a mentee, whatever it might be. You can do all of those things anonymously. I encourage you to go back and do something like that with your teams straight away. So what we did as a leadership team was we started to look at what our key focus areas were. So these are the different teams across our unit. And you can see we had some really clear themes. So we had clarity. Everyone wanted consistent messaging. They lacked clarity. They didn't know their purpose. They didn't understand the links. We also had succession and development. People felt like there weren't opportunities. And to be fair, when you get into these kind of roles, you do tend to stick around for a while. So how do you create that pipeline to keep people around? I think in my first 6 months, I had performance managed one person, walked out the door a temporary employee, and within the space of about 6 months, I'd had 4 resignations. So, a lot of it was workload, but there was something else happening, so I needed to understand what that was. Also, I'm a really nice person. I feel like this is not painting a good picture of me. We also saw team building. People wanted to do more as a team. They wanted to connect. They wanted us to, give them a space to, make relationships. And the last one was feedback. So people didn't get feedback. They didn't know what they did well. They didn't know what they didn't do well. So let's start and unpack some of those. Clarity. I think it's incredibly underrated. When you've got clarity, you've got a focused direction. You know exactly what you need to do and why you need to do it. Incredibly important. Confidence. You don't need to second guess. You can make statements with conviction. This is really important when you're in a conversation. Don't doubt yourself. Be comfortable and make a statement with conviction. Back what you're saying. You know it. You're the SME. Reduce stress. Uncertainty brings anxiety. I love this. When you've got clarity, reducing stress, you understand exactly what you need to do. And improve motivation. Your actions feel meaningful when you know your why. It's about understanding your purpose. Fantastic book here by Karen Martin, and I love this. Clarity is a gift every leader can give or take away. It's really powerful when you think about that. So how do you give clarity? This here is our district planning framework. If someone said to you, what does your team do? Could everyone in here put it into a bit of a statement? Hands up, could anyone not? Got lots of clarity in the room, I love it. So first up, come up with your value proposition. What is it that your team do? How does your team fit into the business objective? For me, we provide a safe and reliable and efficient network. That is Aurizon's core business. And we're the experts in bringing the plan together. That is what our team do. We are solely responsible for planning the maintenance and renewals on the network. What do we do to contribute to our business objectives? We've got a couple of key focus areas and key projects. These are the things that link us into our corporate objectives. And then go down a layer. What do your teams do? When I first came into this role, I was like, what am I responsible for? What's my job? Do I need to know how to plan? Do I need to manage people? Come up with this. Sit down as a team and workshop it. What is my role purpose? And you can see here we've set it out in a way that we've got a planner, a senior planner. We'll talk a little bit about this. This was a new role that we added to help with the succession. We've got the planning lead, and then we've got the superintendents. What am I responsible for? And you can see there's this white space here. I don't know anyone in the team here feel like, oh, she doesn't do this. What makes her so much better? This is the difference. Be really clear in those different levels of accountability and role responsibilities. Wellbeing plans. Clarity. Work-life balance. What are we allowed to do? What are our norms? Make them clear. Make them consistent. This is something we battle with quite a lot at work, but it's important to document it. This is how we do things around here. And the next one, this is my favourite tool, and I'd encourage each of you, if you don't use something like this, to go ahead and use it. This is the circle of concerns, influence and control. I've used this with quite a bit of my team when they're struggling with priorities. So firstly, you draw your 3 circles and put absolutely everything that's on your mind into the outer circle. Circle of concern. So these are just anything, your bank statements, the weather, what's bothering you. Next up, the circle of control. So of all these little things you've written in the outside, have a think about the things that you can directly control. You can't control the weather, so stop worrying about it. There's nothing you can do about it. Your behaviours, you can control them, put them in the middle. And then your circle of influence. So it still feels like there's a lot, but start asking yourself different things. You might feel like you can't control it. What leading questions can you ask to influence the outcome of some of those things? It's a fantastic tool. Absolutely recommend it. If you can't control it, don't get stressed about it. If you can't influence, don't get upset about it. Focus on what you can change and not what you cannot. So again, just another tool to help with clarity. The next up is growing and developing your team. So now everyone knows what they're responsible for, how they fit into the business objectives. Now it's time to help support and grow their development. Horizons recently rolled out our core capabilities framework. So we've got this for all the different departments and all the different types of leads. And it goes into the different types of soft skills that you need to be able to do different leadership roles, different levels in different environments. If you have a look at this emerging leaders one, for example, it says the 3 soft skills that you need are to demonstrate resilience, self-awareness, and be able to instill trust in people. Pretty basic when you think about it, but they're quite hard to, I have no resilience, none. It's something I work with my mentor on all the time, yet to master it. And then each core framework comes with its own self-assessment tool. So you can sit down and you can actually go, okay, being resilient. Do I get upset in high pressure situations? Go through, do a self-assessment and have a look and see where you sit in here. Again, you don't need a people team to roll something out like this. Have a think about, what can you do within your team? Once you've gone through this, you'll be able to identify, okay, am I really developing? Am I skilled or am I talented? You don't want to be in the overused. It's usually not healthy. Once you've determined that, come down here and have a think about the things that you can do to address the boxes that you can't tick. So first recommendation when you're doing something like this is to get someone to do a self-assessment. It's a really good way to reflect and have a think about, oh, actually, I really am quite poor in there. I do it for myself, and then I'll take it to my leader and he'll go, oh, I agree, I disagree. Developing and growing, mentoring. We just recently rolled out a mentoring in works planning program. We have one that's run in the business, but there's something like 20 or 30 people that are able to get paired with senior leaders throughout the business. Really disappointing. It means that a lot of people, miss out, don't get that same opportunity. So last year I rolled this out in our team. We put a little bit of an application process in, sent it out to all of works planning and said, hey, if you want to get involved, tell us what it is that you want to learn and we'll pair you up. And you can see on the right-hand side all of the different things that people wanted to work on. These guys were really lucky. We linked them in with manager of access planning, manager of train control. We had a couple of superintendents in there, really brilliant. So again, nothing, it doesn't cost anything. It takes a bit of time and investment and genuine care. And then we talked about this a little bit earlier, but what I wanted to talk about was the succession piece. So we also heard them say, there's nowhere to go. We used to just have the planner role, the lead role, and the superintendent role. So I'd say, well, I've been here for years and, there's 20 of us in the team. That person's not going anywhere and they're not going anywhere. How do I get recognised for my efforts? So we've introduced the senior infrastructure planner, and similarly, we had an application process. What we asked them to do was to go and have a look at that emerging leaders framework that I just showed you and tell us how they think that their behaviours lined up with that. We had 12 applicants and we had 3 successful candidates. So when they actually did that self-reflection, it was quite powerful to see where their gaps were and why they maybe weren't being considered. Giving and receiving feedback. So this was our next can to crack. When you're giving feedback, make sure you are specific and constructive. Why am I giving this feedback? Do I think this will be helpful? Don't just give feedback for the sake of it. Behaviour focused, not personality. I love this one. If you're giving someone feedback just because you're senior and you've got a bit of beef with them, or you don't like how they've conducted themselves, or they've done something that's pissed you off, for lack of a better word, have a think about, is there actually something in this? Is there any need to be giving it? Timely. No point going back and giving someone feedback in 2 months' time. So make sure you're doing it immediately after. Relative to goals. So why is this important? What will it help them achieve? Why are they doing what they're doing? Actionable improvement suggestions. So actually give tangible things that they can go and work on. What do you want them to do? What do you want them to learn? How could they have done it better? And offer a two-way communication feedback. This is so important. When you give feedback, ask, is there anything differently I can do? I'm open to feedback as well. We won't always like what we'll hear. And then it's important, usually you don't have anything on the spot, but hey, have a think about it. If something pops up, I'm happy for you to come back to me. And it makes it feel a lot more genuine. And offer reflection opportunities and examples. So if you are going to give someone feedback, make sure that you're actually giving them the example of what happened. We've got one lady in our team who actually says, can you give me an example? Be specific. I see Chloe smiling over here. But it's really important, right? If you can't link it back to the event, how can you possibly go back and change it? And I put this in, I guess, this is someone who applied for the senior role. He is one of our longest standing employees in the team. He is a lovely young man, but, he's got some gaps. And so, giving him feedback was quite important when he didn't get it. So firstly, just to clarify, I had this conversation face-to-face first, but I wanted to follow it up so that he had the actions documented. So first thing, face-to-face first. Acknowledge how it made him feel. He was very upset. He was angry. He had a lot of different emotions going on. Link it back to a goal or objective. This is feedback against the competency framework. Here are the areas for development. Resilience is in there, demonstrating self-awareness. And then tangible actions. So, you're a senior leader in the team. Go and mentor and coach. We've got all these people leaving and coming. That's what we expect from someone here. So this was brilliant. We've caught up with him quite often. We've got another round so we'll do it 6 monthly for the first 2. So we've done one intake now, I guess, of senior planners. We'll do another one hopefully in the next month or so, and then it'll be 12 months, so it gives them plenty of time. Again, once you have this feedback though, put in check-ins once a month. Hey, how are you going? Have you been able to coach or mentor? Have you picked up a CI initiative? I love this. So anyone here got young kids? They use the analogy, you kicked my bucket, someone tipped out my bucket. So we're talking about emotions, and it's really important as humans. I feel like my bucket's always kicked over, like someone put a hole in it. But I think, when you think about kids and their buckets, adults have all got emotional piggy banks as well. And I just wanted to put this in here. It's really important to understand the things that we do that deposit positive energy into there, and the things that we do that take out that kind of energy. Now, I put this on here, Epictetus said it. However, my mentor also said it, and I feel like there was a key message behind that. We've got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we should use them in that ratio. I think there was a hidden message. But it's so important, when you're talking and having these conversations, listen. Genuinely listen. Listen with an intent to learn. How else do you develop and grow? Structured one-on-ones. And don't go into things that are just KPI related. Hey, your KPIs are terrible. Your P2P is awful. Your overdues are skyrocketing. What would you do differently? What are your roadblocks? What conversations are you avoiding right now? Starting to understand things at a deeper level. Next up is about creating space to connect. So we heard the team say they wanted more rituals, they wanted to do things together. When we create space, we allow the teams to build trust, not only with us, but with one another. We build networks. So we're engaging and providing, different avenues. The mentoring program's a great example of that. So, meeting with people that they've never dealt with, they've never spoken to before. It allows us to share learnings, opportunities, get different perspectives on things. And it allows us room to celebrate our successes and special occasions. Some of our team rituals, we have Hot Chip Friday. This is our group chat. And again, $20 every 3 weeks or something, we get some hot chips, a few loaves of bread, and we all go downstairs. We love it. I thought, this is a bit corny at first. Now the teams are like, penguins, pelicans, whatever birds they are. Every Friday, we love it. Monthly birthday morning teas. Everyone brings a plate. We invite the whole floor, and people will go back and forth all day to it. And yours truly sings happy birthday. Fun Shirt Friday. We all went and got trademark shirts, try and liven up the office, start some good conversations. Mentoring and networking, as I said, communal pre-starts. We started weekly pre-start briefings, but all the teams come together. I guess a few different things there. One, we're all together getting the same message, but also all the leaders are there. So we'll go around, and again, it's that consistent messaging that everyone's hearing the same thing. And field and depot days. So we've got a travel calendar. We try and get the teams out to do their planning meetings in the depots. I get out there and hand tamp sometimes. So if we look through where we've gone now, we've got clarity, growth and development, feedback loops and connections, and all of these things lead to increased accountability. When we know what it is we're working towards and we understand our goals, our objectives, our responsibilities, we're able to be held accountable. And that's really important, and I think once you've done all of this, it's really important to have those conversations where those expectations aren't being met. So, that being said, 12 months later, so we've now given all of these different things, we've implemented. Now amongst all of this, we removed the team's RDOs. There was a number of different reasons, but we did remove RDOs. We were not contactable on Friday. Office presence was quite poor. We also removed our on-call roster, which for a lot of people, that was additional bit of overtime. But again, it wasn't being used. We had a log. We checked the log. There was something like 3 calls on a weekend over, a certain period of time. So this was a really rough year. But you can see here we went up 7% in safety. Just having clarity, understanding what we needed to do. 25% I went up in leadership. So the team had a huge shift in how they felt, that I felt about them. 4% in culture. It's a bit of a tough one. This has got the community one. Again, we sat there, we've just gone through this and gone, what does this mean to you guys? We had some people say, but the community neighbours are really pissed off with us. We're always cutting down fences and having community engagement breaches. And I was like, I'm thinking about like AFL teams and, sponsoring kids' sports. So the way it was interpreted was quite different. But again, really key, important to unpack it so we understand. And the last one here was up 9% in people. So, awesome story. Super proud of the work that the team's been doing. And I just hope that, if we look at those few key simple things that, you can take away, get clarity, understand what your team objectives are and share it. Make sure everyone's got role clarity and ask them in your next one-on-ones. Understand what they want to do. What's their succession pipeline? How do you support them to get there? Feedback is a gift. Make sure you ask before you give. Do you mind if I give you some feedback? Hey, do you have any feedback for me? Always ask. Creating space to connect and driving accountability once you've got it in place. And I don't know if it will work, but I did just have, how do I click on? Just wanted to leave you with one quick little, can I just click on that? Let's see. Oh, I'm going to get the tech guru over here. Thanks, mate. Oh, never mind, don't worry. It's probably not connected. I've tried to do it 3 times today. If you want to watch it, it's a really good, it's about culture driving engagement, and it's around when people have clarity, how the production goes up, team morale goes up. The PowerPoint presentation will be available. So jump in, share it, take it to your next team meeting. But that's all I've got today. So thank you all very much for coming along. Thank you.
Amazing, thank you. You didn't talk about technical outcomes, which I assume were very successful as well as a result of the people, yeah? All the effort you put into the people ends up with reliability outcomes.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Questions? We have time for questions.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the presentation. Just wondering, with the staff insight surveys, are they mandatory? And if they're not, what percentage of participation did you receive?
Great question. Not mandatory at all. I bribed my team and I took them all out for coffee and said, if I've got 100% by this afternoon, I'll take you all for coffee. I got 97%, I think. There was one, I could see one person. I don't know who it was, but I missed a number. To recall this year, we were up in like something like the 90%, which usually it's around 50 or 60. They do increase each year, but most of the leaders, you know, to get a genuine understanding, do say to the teams, we've been given the okay, grab them a pint of Coke. Just tell them to go on there, and you can, you know, prefer not to say for age, prefer not to say. So, you know, if budget allows, a bribe goes a long way.
What do you do with the supervisor that, in other words, the frontline leader that's not performing your people skills? As a result, their employees are not confident with the leadership. So it's not a reflection on you, but it's a reflection on their direct managers. Really
interesting and a great question. We also have MORs. Most of you would probably be familiar. So manager once removed. We have those every 6 months with our team, and it's a really good way to understand if they're having their one-on-ones, if they're being supported, if they've got clear goals, you know, do they have objectives, do they have succession plans in place? You can usually see last year, my first year in the role, I did get quite poor results, and I pulled them in and was like, what's going on? Oh, it's not you, it's such and such. It's still me, because I need to make sure I'm providing that right level of leadership. So then it's about building in that development into their one-on-ones. Hey, how do you feel like you go with leading at the moment? How do you feel like you're going setting goals for the team? Try and pose it as a curious question, but then give actions. Hey, you could really focus on this, and hopefully then that filters through to the team.
Got time for another question? How many of you wished you worked for this organisation?
Oh, I thought you were going to say this woman. I was like, well, no one.
Well, yourself. I've seen such bad stuff go on. Really culture shock in, that this would do a world of good for. All done? Oh, step away from the speaker. I'm creating feedback. Any other questions? Keen to get to tea? Well, you'll be available at... You got a question? Awesome.
Thank you very much for the presentation. It's good. Now that your EPS is obviously coming up and you're getting better results year on year, have you thought about an action plan or how you're going to move into that sustain? Because obviously you've got some high results now. What's the next trigger to sustain those good results while also not just focusing on the reds?
Yeah, great question. So we've just gotten our results for this year, and quite a similar theme, like I guess the things that are still needing development are the same ones that we saw last year, so there was nothing new. We do have a couple of major things in the pipelines though, so I think making sure you understand what's working well and what's not working well is key, so we know that the succession pipeline, the feedbacks and the one-on-ones are working. And then, you know, tools to do my job. We're now bringing in Planner Hub, so we've got a new tech solution coming in as well. So I think just being consistent, being open, I think naturally that will just, you know, stay on par.
Do you have a decent number of people that don't want succession, very happy with their job, do their job well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to understand where people want to go. So when we rolled this out, one of the girls in the team actually piped up and said, What if we're just happy in our role? Like, why does everyone have to be a leader or a senior? Absolutely you don't, but we need to make sure that we've got an avenue for you to be able to, you know, go down that path. It's also important though that, you know, she's only relatively new, so let's make sure that she's actually fully competent in that role as well. So everyone's got gaps. How do we still coach and develop? I think it's important to always learn.
Sorry, hi Marissa.
Hi.
Thank you for the discussion. But one question is, when you having progress in the team, in bringing the team together, there's always some, I can say, workmates or teammates that usually spreads influence or negative energy around that pulls back the progress. How do you deal with those kind of situations?
I'm pretty big on this one. I'm fairly vocal, so if something is happening in the team untoward, I'll just pull them straight into a room. It's not acceptable. This is that giving feedback. If something happens, it's an immediate into the room. Hey, look, everyone's feeding on that. Tell me why you feel that way. Let me help you. What do you need from me to help you understand? We recently just rolled out a new planning regime, which had a lot of people in the team going, it's not broken, why are you trying to fix it? And it was, you know, we needed to do it to support our business objectives. And I've got one lady in the team that was really like, this is shit, it's not going to work for everyone. So I just called her in. You know, my boss always says to me, seek to understand and then seek to be understood. So it was around understanding how she feels and then also sharing, well, this is the reason why. So it just comes back to that clarity piece.
Amazing. Round of applause. Thank you so much, Marissa.
Thank you.
So you'll be available at the Southern Ports Knowledge Corner at the afternoon break for more questions. And don't forget, well, this is the moment you open your app and give amazing feedback for that fantastic presentation and the insights. And don't forget to mark your name down on the exchange session that you wish to go to on the boards as you enter. Thank you so much. See you next time.